Welcome to another episode of Jacksonville Metal Militia. My name is Steve Van Terra, and with us today we have Austin from Gunshine. How we doing, bud?
What's up, man? Appreciate you having me.
Oh, cool. Appreciate you coming on. And just so you know, we don't have Mr. Mark Talica with us today. Wish you were here, buddy. And also our producer, Jose. He's on he's on his 22-year anniversary with his lovely lady, Chan. Chan, fuck you. I hate you. No, I love you to death, Chan. I love you to death. I've known her since high school, man. She's been matter of fact, she was my wife's best friend in high school. They still talk, and they're a bunch of knuckleheads together. So whenever I was just doing that, that's our me and Chan's love language.
That's how you know it's real.
Yeah. So you're from Florida, right?
Yeah, so I was born in Daytona Beach, Florida, lived in Gainesville for a little while, and then most recently Pensacola as of like 2011, and that's where we started the band. But I've also I lived in Hollywood for a little while when I was going to music school out there, so kind of been all over the place. And then currently in Atlanta as of like the past 2 years, but always bouncing back and forth between here and Pensacola.
Right on, man. So tell me, kind of introduce for people who may not know who you are, kind of give Gunshine like kind of a introduction, like who you guys are, what you're about, and what you bring to the table, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so we're a rock and roll hard rock band. I started this group in about, let's see what, we put out our first album in the summer of 2022.
Hmm.
And so, really the big thing for me, I always said, kind of the mission statement with the band is to kind of combine, melodic choruses and melodic vocals with like the edginess of like a GNR or AC/DC or something like that. So kind of
Yeah.
take the heavy riffs, but the, melodic choruses and stuff like that. And of course, we experiment with a lot of different flavors. And another big thing, is really just to write whatever comes out. There's no perfect formula or anything like that. So we throw a lot of curveballs into the music, but generally, we have that kind of rock and roll, hard rock sound with big soaring choruses and stuff.
Yeah. Because I was telling my buddy, and me and actually, if Dave was here, he'd tell you, he's like, man, they just sound super clean. Like if you were listening to them, they're like this really good hard rock, just great rock. And I agree. It's like when I was listening, I was like, man, that's super clean sound, and that's one thing I could really appreciate. Sometimes you get listen to some things, and it's like, but everything's been super clean on everything I've heard, and I can really appreciate, especially the sound you guys have. Because I was saying, like, yeah, they kind of remind me of maybe like you were saying GNR. I was like, that was kind of one of the first things they have that kind of a sound where it's they have that kind of an edge. And you mentioned AC/DC. I was like, yeah, they have that kind of like that blend. So you kind of nailed it on the head. How when I that was my initial thought when I first heard you guys.
Yeah, we blend a lot of
You know.
different, modern influences as well, and like this new record, especially. Like I played seven-string guitars on this new album, and mixed in kind of, in the background of choruses and stuff like that, just to thicken things up. And this new album, we got two ballads. We have an acoustic song, and there's even the last song on the record is called "Table Dancing," and it's literally like five songs in one. There's like a Sinatra section and a '70s disco section, and it just keeps like bouncing between these different genres and stuff. So we just have fun with it. We throw the
Yeah.
kitchen sink out and just kind of experiment and have fun with it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So what's the
it's
name of the
called
new
Grand
album?
Rising, and comes out July
Right.
24th. But we decided to release the record on physical, so CD and vinyl. We decided to put it out basically right away on physical. So for the people that don't want to wait till July, they can go ahead and buy the CD, buy the vinyl now. So it's kind of a way to appease the people that
Right on.
don't want to play the streaming game and that kind of thing. So
Sure. Yeah. Um, so whenever it comes to like to the writing, is it like a one person kind of a deal, or like yeah, even for like the lyrics to the song, or even like whoever's writing a riff, like who's mainly like doing it? So like a collective kind of a deal, or is it like one person says this, and you kind of like okay
Yeah, I mean,
or
we
whatever, you know.
so generally like our singer and I, we collaborate a lot. So, but I'm kind of the guy in the band that has like the computers, so I do a lot of like writing and producing and stuff like that. So I like to basically it'll start usually with like a voice memo idea in my phone. It might be like a melody or a riff, and then I'll kind of take that and kind of build the arrangement, the music, and the like the melody around that, and I'll kind of be like humming out random words, but like in the vocal melody or whatever, and then I'll sit with our singer Jordan, and we kind of
Yeah.
we'll sit there and collaborate on lyrics and stuff like that. And it can go a little different depending on the song, but that seems to be you know I'm super into vocal melodies, and he is passionate about lyrics, so it's kind of a good combination.
Oh, right on. No, say, is there like what are your like influence as far as like when you're writing the song? Is there a band that you're kind of pulling off of like right now or anything like that? And then I'll follow that up with a second one that kind of is similar. But is there any influences right now that if you hear something like, man, that sounds pretty badass, let's see if I can pull that off and put our own little twist on it.
I think it's
Hmm.
more of like a subconscious thing more than anything. I kind of, just get into music, and it kind of depends on like what I'm listening to a lot at the time. But I kind of
Naturally.
just let it sort of
Yeah, yeah.
naturally kind of seep into my brain, maybe, and then maybe I'm kind of subconsciously
Sure.
drawing from that or whatever. But I love bands like Ghost and Avenged Sevenfold, and but I love
Yeah.
like Boston and GNR, and I mean I could go on and on. Some of the '80s like soft rock and new wave stuff, but also the more hard rock stuff
Yeah.
as well and metal. So it's really all over the place, whatever's good. And when I'm writing, I really just focus on like the things that I hear in my head. So it usually just kind of comes out of nowhere, but it can sometimes be maybe again maybe what I'm listening to at the time kind of
Yeah.
seeps its way
Yeah. You
on
mentioned
in.
like when you're a kid, like, did you have one band that you really like? I know when I was a kid, man, it was always the first band I really truly loved was Black Sabbath. I got introduced to that when I was a kid. I was maybe then, God, 6 years old, and I picked up Black Sabbath Volume 4. And that was an awesome. I mean, just I picked up my dad's cassette tape, plugged in my little tape player, and I was like, "Oh my God," That. But then you obviously, whenever you get older, you got to find your own band. GNR was my band back in the day. That transitioned to right now, which was Pantera, which is my band. I don't know if you can see the banner behind me where I'm meeting Ola and Selma right there. But as a kid growing up,
Yep.
who was your favorite band? And did they have any influence on what you're really doing right now?
Yeah, I mean, my first kind of like guitar influence was
Nice.
Stevie Ray Vaughan, and then, but I later got into like Ozzy, and Guns N' Roses
Yeah.
was a really huge one for me. Boston was like
Yeah.
really big as well. Led Zeppelin was like one of the first bands that I got into as well. Like some of the first things I ever learned, on guitar was like
Yeah.
Zeppelin stuff. So um, definitely, definitely was. I would say Zeppelin, and then kind of
Yeah, it's
GNR
kind
was
of
like a
funny you say
really
that because
big
I
one
feel like
too.
when I grew up, I remember as a kid, GNR was super big because I remember when Appetite came out, that was massive. I kind of think like there was nothing really like it at the time, and it was amazing. Then
Hmm.
yeah, it's weird to get into high school and all my high school buddies. Oh man, I listen to Led Zeppelin all the time, and I'm like, that's pretty cool. They've been around for a long time, but goddamn, that's pretty cool, man. Like I remember I have a box set with the gold. They were 24 karat gold Led Zeppelin discs I got from my uncle before he passed away. I was like, hell yeah! But I love me some Zeppelin, man. It seems like it's the gold standard, pretty much, in rock music. So it's pretty cool here to say, Zeppelin and especially GNR because, like I said, they were so hot back in the day, man. I mean, red hot, which if they're playing Rockville. Don't know if you get a chance, maybe between tour and seeing anything, you're gonna go check them out down in Rockville, May the 7th, I believe is when it is. So if you're interested, just throwing it out there. But yeah,
Gotcha. I hope we're. That'd be awesome to be a part of
yeah,
Rockville
yeah,
one of these years. So
um,
especially being from, I was born in
yeah,
Daytona Beach. I think it's still is
yeah.
it
They
still
moved
in
to
Daytona?
Daytona. It's on the
Yeah.
International Speedway. This has been my first one, and even when they had it here in Jacksonville, I never could make it over there because dude, I wasn't built for the festivals, man. You know what I mean? I'm been into the stadiums or the Coliseum here in Jackson, Letcher Memorial or whatever, and no, I can't do festivals anymore. This would be my first one, and you know, when me and Dave go down to do the Rockville VIP, that'll be an experience for us. So first time for everything, you know. At
Oh yeah,
47, I don't know if these knees can hold up, but we're gonna find out real quick, you know. Yeah.
yeah. It'd be a long.
So you got any tour dates coming up you want to talk about?
Yeah, man, we're gonna be super busy. So we're actually leaving here in a couple days. We're hitting all the Northeast stuff. We're doing like Pennsylvania, Ohio, New York. We're going up to like we even have a
Yeah.
Canada date and heading down the coast. I think we ended Virginia, so it'll be a good little run. Like I think it's a 2.5, 3 week run. Is from April 8th through the
Yeah.
24th, and then we're going to be hitting it super hard in the summertime as well. So we're doing Sturgis this year, and we're doing the whiskey
Oh
out in
yeah.
California, and so yeah, I was supporting the new record, Grand Rising. So yeah,
Oh
we'll be
yeah.
all over the place. We actually just got home. We did a little southeast run
Really?
back in March. So
Yeah,
yeah,
awesome.
man.
And you ever gonna come back through Florida and do a little run through Jacksonville, hopefully?
Hope so. Yeah. So we did at the very beginning of March. We did Daytona Bike Week, and we
Oh,
did
okay.
Clearwater.
Man,
Yeah.
I got a few buddies out there. I'm
Yep.
gonna
We
ask.
did.
I'm gonna talk about them or talk with you guys because they were at a bike week that I work with. I'm like, hey, you check these guys out because I know they were there. That's pretty awesome. Right.
But yeah, we'll definitely circle back around and do some more Florida dates. So we're from the Gunshine State
Yeah,
in
man.
Florida, so
Hell
we
yeah,
got
yeah. Because you know Jacksonville.
gotta keep
Jacksonville
playing
needs
for
it, man. You know, I've said it many times on here and with a lot of people around here. You know, I hate to say this, but it feels like Jacksonville's once thriving music scene has practically come to a screeching halt, and we've been dying to trying to get music acts to come back here. And I was mentioning to you, we had seen Crowbar, but that was back in 2019. And the most recent show we've had that was a big act or just any rock act was Nine Inch Nails, and that was maybe a few months ago. And that's it. We don't really
it.
get
Okay.
nothing. We don't get a sniff anymore. So whenever I try to see people or whatever, like God, I wish we can get these acts back here in Jacksonville, especially because again, I feel like it's dying over here. You know, because you know there's a lot of people here that really just clamoring for it. You know, it's you hate I really hate seeing the place that I live. You know, just shrivel up and have to go somewhere and see the bands you really dig, you know, and then when you can get it in your own backyard. So if you get the chance, come back here because I'm telling you, man, you'd be shocked at how many people will just flock to an area if they know good music's coming, you know? Yeah.
Absolutely.
So with that album you just put out, and I think we were talking, um, you did a music video down here, correct? You want to?
Down in
Yeah.
Pensacola, yeah. So we song is called "Single Looks Good on You," and it was we actually flew to Vancouver, Canada, to do that song and one other song called "Goth Girl" off
Yeah.
the new record with producer Brian Howes, and he did the first two Hinder records with all their big hits and Nickelback, Skillet, Daughtry. So that was a really cool experience. He messaged us and said he thought it'd be cool if he worked with us. So we did like one Zoom call with him, and then we flew out
Yeah.
there and. Then I also worked with our longtime producer Chris Collier. He did all of our other stuff to date and produces Corn
Really?
and Mick Mars and White. Yeah, so he's killer as well. So he actually mixed and mastered the
Wow.
entire record. But yeah, we did that video for that song "Single Looks Good on You" down here, and just actually released it today. The
Nice.
video.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So I got a question for you. Like, I don't know if you've ever really paid too much attention to it or not, but I kind of feel like maybe it's just me. I kind of get a sense of like really good rock bands, just in general, have kind of like there's not really too many of them anymore. Does that make sense? Like, there's not really too many bands you'll see out that are really thriving. You know, and I don't know if you've
Mhm.
seen that or because I think there's a mishmash of everything and in between, but nothing that's really like a great rock band, like we've mentioned like AC/DC or a GNR or somewhere in that line. But I kind of feel like all the great ones have kind of going. Do you think? what do you think maybe could be the cause of that? And hopefully you guys are bringing that sound back. Because like I said, I listened to you and you guys sound absolutely great. You know, a very clean sound and it was very distinct. You know, you kind of what do you think maybe could be the cause of maybe let the dying scene a little bit? You know, especially in the rock industry.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with the industry. I think there are a lot of new bands out there. There's a lot of new music out these days, but I think the industry has changed so much. It's so oversaturated, and it's not the way it was in the '80s, where say there's a band like Guns N' Roses, and they could sort of come onto the scene, and these A&R guys would fly out or come out to see them play at the Whiskey or something, and then sign them that
Yeah.
night. And all it doesn't work like that anymore. So it's like you gotta spend years just trying to get seen.
Wow.
So it's one thing to have good music, another thing to try to get heard and try to get seen. And with everyone and their mother releasing stuff on Spotify now and all over the place on TikTok and everything, it's harder and harder to kind of cut through the mix. So I think that's the biggest struggle is just trying to market yourself, because that's the part that is so different than when these bands were coming up in the
Yeah,
80s.
yeah, I've noticed that. Like you are right, what you said. It's like I do feel like it is kind of oversaturated. You know what I mean? So that yeah, that's I can see where that's at on that. There's some sacrifices, man, when you're out there on the road, um, that you have had to given up since you've been doing Gunshine. Has there been anything you've had to like, hey, I can't do this anymore, and you've had to just be your sole focus?
Yeah, I mean, I think you always sacrifice one thing to do another thing. Anything important in life. I think the hardest part is being away from like the people you love. Like for me, it's like my fiance and
Right.
stuff. I hate it's when you're gone too long. It sucks. It's like but it's like if you're home for too long as well, then you're not getting to pursue your your career the way that you want to. So it's really it's a kind of a double edged
Yeah,
sword and a kind of a no win situation. But yeah, I'd say that's probably the biggest thing is just like the people you love and being away from uh, whether it's your significant other or your family or anything like that.
yeah.
So
Now, have you got a lot of support from the people that who you've essentially been doing this Gunshine, the people that's been close to you, or have you had people to be like, you should really be focusing on this and that, or has been just everybody's been very supportive and embraced the whole idea of you doing Gunshine?
oh yeah, I have the absolute most supportive parents and coolest
Hell yeah,
support system. Uh, my sister has helped a ton with the merch. Like I mentioned, my fiance
yeah.
already, and my parents and everything. Everybody around me is like extremely supportive, and I'm super grateful for that. So yeah, I'm really lucky when it comes to all that. I have a great
Hell
support
yeah.
system.
Yeah. So I know I heard you in the beginning. You're talking about music. Musical, and I was going to bring that up. I was going to ask now. Before you did that, were you self? Did you self teach yourself a little bit, or did you go through the whole music school like you were saying? Or
Yeah, you can actually see behind me if I move. There's my
oh
MI
snap!
degree right there.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But yeah, it's so I was kind of self-taught, but I mean I also had a few teachers. Like I started playing guitar when I was like 7 or 8, and I had a teacher that kind of took me through the book and just kind of Mary Had a Little Lamb and all that stuff. But then I had another teacher that he was like, bring me any song you want to play, whether it be Zeppelin or Boston or
Yeah,
whatever, and we'll learn. So that was really cool because then it was fun, and basically I could just play like whatever I wanted to, and I could learn these songs or whatever,
yeah.
and that helped like really develop my own sound and my ear and stuff like that too. But um and then years later I went to MI out in Hollywood. That was like what was it, 2016 through the end of 2018, and that was just an incredible experience because all the teachers are like world class guitar players. You meet people from all over the world, like there's students from from any country pretty much you can think of. There's people there from all over the world, and you make so many good connections. And obviously, being in LA, you can the networking is next level. So I've got so many good opportunities from doing that, and I actually got the opportunity shortly after graduating to tour with a band called New Year's Day, and we toured arenas with Godsmack and Hailstorm and In
Really
This Moment. And so that kind of gave me a lot of experience and sort of put me in a good position to kind of start my own band.
nice. Hell yeah. So let me ask you. So I'm a fellow guitar player myself. Not the greatest, but however, I do pretend to try, But is there a particular brand that you like to stick to, or you just kind of you pick up the guitar and you go, or what do you like to run?
Like equipment wise,
Yeah,
like
what guitar do you like, or and on top of matter of fact, on top of that, what kind of a setup do you run?
this is actually my number one. I had it right next to me, so it was easy to show you. This
Okay,
is my number one. Paul. I actually broke a string the other day, so it's missing a string. But
well, yeah,
yeah, as you can see, it's gotten some abuse over the
yeah,
years.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah, that's my number one. So yeah, I'm a Les Paul Marshall kind of a guy, and that's kind of the mainstay sound. I would say my sound and the sound for Gunshine is really Les Paul JCM 800, and I use it's actually on my desk as well, but I use like the Boss
oh yeah,
Super Overdrive.
yeah, yeah,
That's kind of a big yeah. I mean I keep it pretty simple, but it's just the more because my philosophy was always like the less that's in the way of um, like you're playing and your hands and stuff like the less that's in the signal chain, the more your personality can kind of come out through the music. So
yeah.
I keep it simple and I just let it fly.
Hell yeah, yeah. With me, I don't know if you can see it, but I've got the Dean, the that old Dimebag special there, and the other one behind me. It's in the case. It's the Wild Audio. It's the War Eagle
Yep,
Bullseye from Zach Wild.
nice.
But yeah, it's probably been one of the better ones I've played. I love my Deans, man. There's the one the hard shell behind me. I won't play it. It's a little bit too got too much of a connection to it for me to actually play it. But the one behind it, it's a Vulgar Display of Power 25th year anniversary of the album guitar they made or whatever. So, and the other one's a 25th year Far Beyond Driven guitar. So I was like, I'm not playing that one because that was my favorite album from Pantera. So I was like, no, you're not playing that one. And I got kids, and I ain't trying to have these knuckleheads knock it over or something. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. That's awesome though, man.
Yeah,
That's killer.
yeah, and I got a orange amp, man. I got a little distortion pedal. Um, I got a little crybaby from hell, wah wah. But other than that,
Yep.
I try to just plug and play with the distortion pedal, man. That's really all I got for whenever I play.
There you go.
Yeah, my buddy
That's
Keith,
all you
man,
need.
my buddy Keith, he rips it, and he gives me a hard time, and I'm like, listen, dude, your hands like you got these long, skinny fingers, and I got these fat nubs. You're going to tell me I should be playing better? Get off my case, man. You're like, poo, 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 poo. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
So-
so it's one of those things like you gotta play like all the time and everything.
yeah,
Guitars
man.
is man, it's like it's crazy like that. But it's all
Yeah.
about having fun, just jamming. So that's what it's all
Yeah.
about.
Yeah. So, is there anything that we can expect from Gunshine in the future? As far as like, I know you just released the album. Is there anything else that around the docket that everybody can expect? Anybody can expect that you haven't said anything that isn't already out there at all, or
I mean, this year is just gonna be all about the record. We're gonna there's a lot of touring stuff. We're
yeah,
gonna be releasing a lot of new music, so it's gonna be fun, man. We got a lot of songs we're excited about. Excited about the entire album. It came out great. So,
yeah,
um, I mean, there's one thing. So we did one song, and because you can literally go on Spotify and it'll tell you. So it's not like a huge secret, but
yeah.
one of the songs on the record we had a feature, and we so Michael Starr from Steel Panther did a
Yeah.
feature on
Oh,
Shark
cool.
Lounge,
That's
track
awesome.
11. Yeah, yeah.
That is awesome. Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
And that'll come out when the record drop. Actually, no, that comes out as a single, I think, in June.
In
So
June? Okay. Hell yeah,
yeah.
man. That's awesome. Let's see here. What are some of the social sites that we can look forward to for you guys that I know I can say it, but is there anything you want to shout out to, like when you saw your social sites? Some of these guys don't know that you can once they see this, hey, let's check these guys out.
Yeah, yeah. It's gunshineband.com is our website. And then
Sure.
actually on the website, it'll take you to all the social media. But we're on, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Just type in Gunshine and you'll find us. Gunshine Band, I think it is on Instagram. But if you just type Gunshine, you'll find us on all the socials. So, yeah,
Okay.
man. Stay
All right.
tuned.
Hell yeah, man. Definitely gonna look forward to it, man. All right, well, I'm gonna wrap this up, brother, and I do appreciate you coming on, man. I'm hoping to get you back here soon, man, so we can get Dave and you can meet Jose and get the whole crew, and this way you get the full experience with everybody. Like I said, these guys are my right and my left hand, and you know, I really do appreciate you taking the time, man. I really, really do. And everybody, if you have not gotten the chance, check these guys out. They got a great, great sound. I cannot push this enough. You hear it first with Austin. So again, Austin, thank you so much for coming on here and taking the time, man. It's definitely an honor to have you on.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you having
All
me.
right, and as always, everybody, tell somebody you love them and keep it metal.